She fucking... My baby girl is in there. My wife's got nerve damage.
You hear Bobby react like that, and for a second it feels like the wrong voice came out of the wrong person. Because this is Bobby, the closest thing the Sopranos has to a gentle giant, and nobody watches Bobby expecting him to be the one who makes the room nervous. He is the kind of guy people get comfortable underestimating. He can sit there while the room laughs a little too long. He can take a comment that would make somebody else start swinging.
It's like an ad for a fucking weight loss center. Before and way before.
This guy ever stop breaking balls?
He can give that awkward smile, look down, and let the moment pass, because most of the time, Bobby would rather eat the insult than turn the room ugly. And after enough scenes like that, you start to accept the version of him everyone else accepts. There is almost something innocent about him, which is insane to say about a grown man in that life, but that is how Bobby feels next to the rest of them. So when he finally raises his voice, it catches you off guard. Now, I'm not saying he turned into Batman here. He is still the guy who can sit through jokes, take a little disrespect, and let things slide when it is not worth the trouble. Bobby can handle that side of the life better than most people think, and that is where a lot of people get him wrong. Because taking jokes or swallowing small insults does not mean he is weak. It means he has control. It means he chooses what matters and what does not. Most of the time, Bobby is not reacting because he does not need to. He is not built on ego the same way a lot of the other guys are. But that does not mean there are no lines. And when those lines get crossed, you see it immediately. And when that moment comes, you realize the version of Bobby everyone underestimated was never the full picture. He was just the calm version. And the road to that starts with Paulie sitting across from a priest, already treating a saint's feast like another envelope. This is Father Jose, the new priest dealing with the feast of St. Elzear, and Paulie is there because this feast is under his watch. The vendors, the rides, the street, the money, the whole setup. Paulie is connected to what happens later because he is one of the people responsible for making this thing run. And right away, the conversation is about cost. The priest wants the church's cut raised to $50,000, and Paulie hears that number like an insult.
We feel 50,000 would be a more equitable donation.
50?
You can see him start calculating the feast in his head, because to Paulie this is no longer just some neighborhood tradition with saints and families walking around. It is money going out and money coming in, and money he feels slipping away before the feast even starts.
Fuck the hat.
And then we get the ride. After all that talk about permits and who is responsible for what, the episode brings the whole thing down to something very simple. A mother putting a baby on a carnival ride. This is supposed to be the lame ride, the safe ride, the one you put a baby on because nothing serious is supposed to happen. Then something does happen. The ride jerks out of control, people start screaming, and suddenly the safest corner of the feast turns into panic. Janice is holding Domenica, trying to protect her, and the whole thing lasts only a few seconds, but those few seconds are enough. Because for Bobby, when he finds out, this is the image that stays. He sees his family sitting inside a broken ride, his baby in Janice's arms and his son right there with them. All this while he was away from it when it happened. The ride just breaks, and the people sitting inside it have to trust that somebody did their job before they got on. Well, it turns out somebody didn't. And later on, Paulie gets the call. Little Paulie tells him,
"We had a problem down here, the ride, the teacups or whatever. A bolt busted, thing jammed up."
That is already bad enough. A ride just broke with families on it. The whole thing Paulie was supposed to be responsible for has turned into screaming, cops, and ambulances. And Paulie's voice barely changes. He asks where the guy who owns it is. Little Paulie tells him he is talking to the cops. And Paulie goes,
Fuck it. What do you want from me?
That line is exactly why Bobby's anger later feels different. Because before Bobby even knows the full story, we already hear how Paulie is treating it. Little Paulie tells him a lady broke her wrist, a kid lost some teeth, and Paulie's answer is,
What am I, a fucking dentist?
I gotta say that's a very funny line, but it's funny for you and me, not for a father who had his family put to risk. So basically, the accident is just a headache for Paulie, a mess somebody else should clean before it touches him. Little Paulie even gives him the chance to come down, and Paulie has his answer ready.
I don't know. I thought you'd want to know. Maybe come down or something.
I gotta be up in the morning. I got my fucking biopsy.
So he leaves Little Paulie there with the cops, the injured people, the ride owner, and the damage. That is the part that sits underneath Bobby later. Paulie does not just cheap out on the feast. He also shows that he doesn't give a single fuck. Then we get the dinner scene, and this is the part that pushes Bobby from scared into ashamed. Janice keeps replaying the accident at the table.
1 second you're sitting there enjoying a ride with your family. The next, your entire world comes crashing down.
She talks about the screams. She says her baby could have been killed. And Bobby is sitting there hearing all of it. He already knows how bad it was. He already knows he was somewhere else when it happened. But Janice keeps going. The table starts turning the accident into different things.
They are entitled to damages. Obviously, there was negligence.
Everybody has a way to talk about it that keeps it a little distant. Bobby's way is anger.
Scumbag hillbilly. I should have kicked his ass.
That line is Bobby trying to reach backward into the moment and give himself a role in it. Then Janice looks at him and cuts right through that.
Yeah, and what did you do? Nothing.
That is the sentence that lands. Because she is saying out loud the thing Bobby is already carrying. The guilt of not being there when his wife and baby was on that ride. All he can say back is,
I was taking Sophia to the bathroom.
it is a normal explanation, and somehow it sounds useless the second it leaves his mouth. Because the facts do not make the shame go away. Bobby was not responsible for the accident. He did not put them on the ride or cheap out on safety. But by the time Janice is done with that sentence, Bobby is sitting there feeling like the man who failed to appear when his family needed him. So when he gets up from that table, he is already carrying something heavier than anger. He is carrying the need to answer for a moment he missed. After hearing Janice make the accident look like a plane crash, Bobby walks into that motel room already carrying the shame from dinner. And now there is a man in front of him connected to the ride that almost hurt them.
Redneck fuck. My baby was on that ride, my wife.
He is angry at the manager, angry at Paulie, angry at the accident, and probably angry at himself too, because he was away when it happened, and now he is trying to make up for it after the fact. The manager starts talking about insurance and liability, the kind of language people use once the danger is already over, and everyone wants to make it paperwork.
I told the cops, mister, I'm sorry. Insurance will pay your hospital bill.
25,000 cash.
For a second, you see the part of him people forget is there. The gangster part. The part that can walk into a room, lean over somebody, and make fear move from one body to another. Then the manager gives him the thing that changes where Bobby's anger goes.
I told the guy hired me I'd have to put on a whole repair crew, work him all night. He wouldn't spring for it.
Who, Paulie?
Now Bobby understands. The ride did not just break because the world is random. Somebody made a cheaper choice. And when Bobby realizes the name behind that choice is Paulie, the whole scene sharpens. He came into the room looking for someone to answer. He leaves knowing exactly where the answer is. And now Bobby goes straight to Paulie. The way the scene is staged makes it even uglier, because Paulie is in the middle of the feast acting like everything is normal. And then Bobby cuts through it.
Hey, cocksucker!
That alone feels strange coming from him, because Bobby usually lets anger sit in his face before it reaches his mouth. Here, it comes out loud, in public, in front of everybody.
You hire some fly-by-night piece of shit and you don't tell nobody!
Paulie knows the ride was cheap. He knows the repair crew was not paid for, and he knows somebody made a decision before his family ever sat in that car. Yet he still tries to act confused.
Oh, Bobby! What the fuck you talking about?
But Bobby is already past that.
You know what I'm talking about, you cheap fuck?
And then he says the line that cuts right through all of Paulie's excuses.
Everybody wants to get rich, but you don't scrimp on safety.
This was not bad luck to him anymore. This was somebody choosing money in a place full of families, and his family happened to be the one sitting inside the result. Paulie tells him to mind his business. And Bobby almost cannot believe the words reached him.
My baby girl was in that.
Any normal person hears that and backs up. Even if they are guilty, even if they are defensive, that line should put something human into the room. Paulie gives him nothing. Bobby brings up Janice, and Paulie says,
My wife's got nerve damage! Fuck her too!
That is the moment where Paulie crosses from selfish into disgusting, because now it is beyond the money. He already endangered people by being cheap. He already avoided the scene. He already tried to dodge the blame. And when the man whose family was on the ride is standing right in front of him, Paulie still finds a way to make himself the victim. Also, saying that for Tony Soprano's sister is something that he should have not gotten away so easily. It feels like the quietest guy in the crew finally realizing he is talking to someone who will never feel shame unless it is forced into him. Paulie looks shocked because he really thought Bobby would take it. He thought Bobby would swallow the disrespect, swallow the insult to his wife, and walk away like he always does. Bobby doesn't. For once, the softest man in the room is the only one with the right reaction. Paulie put families in danger, hid behind excuses, and then had the audacity to tell the father standing in front of him to eat it. By the end, Tony pulls Paulie aside in the bathroom, away from the lights of the feast, and forces him to settle the issue. The ugliest thing about this episode is how ordinary that kind of evil looks. In the mafia, that is how almost everything gets handled once the speeches about family are over. And the thing that makes it so ugly is that Bobby is not some stranger yelling from outside the life. Bobby is a made man. He is part of the same world Paulie claims to respect, the same old speeches about honor, loyalty, and protection. And even then, his wife and baby end up sitting inside the risk of Paulie's cheap decision. These guys talk about family like it is sacred until family gets in the way of money. Then it becomes another problem to settle, another complaint to manage, another envelope to hand over so everyone can move on. Bobby's explosion cuts through that because he is the only one still reacting to the real thing. His child was on that ride. A made man's family was put in danger, and the man responsible still had to be cornered before he treated it like it mattered. So the fight with Paulie is bigger than Bobby losing his temper. It is Bobby realizing that the rules these men hide behind do not protect anything once money is on the table. Tony tells Paulie to settle it, because in their world that is where most pain goes once it becomes inconvenient. But Bobby cannot move past it that cleanly. For once, the quiet guy looks at the whole thing with clear eyes. His family was nearly hurt, and the people who talk about family every day were already turning it into business. Even Bobby, one of their own, only gets humanity from these people after he forces them to remember he is capable of violence.